The government's own 2026 report says the retirement trust fund runs out in 2032, 6 years away. That doesn't end Social Security, but what actually happens next is the part most people get wrong. The June 2026 Trustees Report, released by the Social Security Administration, projects that the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund, or OASI, will deplete its reserves in the fourth quarter of 2032. Measured from the report's publication, this creates a 6-year window for potential reform. This forecast is a conditional projection under current law, not an absolute guarantee. Emptying these reserves is entirely different from the program ending. If Congress takes no action before this deadline, the program does not stop. Instead, the legal mechanism determining what benefits are actually payable must change. Ongoing payroll taxes will continue to flow into the system even after the OASI reserves are fully depleted. According to the Board of Trustees, this incoming revenue would still cover about 78% of scheduled retirement and survivor benefits. If Congress takes no action, this would trigger an automatic, across-the-board reduction of roughly 22%, rather than a total halt in payments. The Congressional Budget Office offers a separate, more conservative baseline under its own economic assumptions. The CBO projects a larger cut of up to 28%, leaving roughly 72% of scheduled benefits funded. Another scenario involves legally merging the retirement fund with the disability fund. The trustees estimate a combined OASDI fund could last until 2034, supporting about 83% of scheduled benefits. This merged fund scenario is not an automatic safety net. It requires Congress to pass a new law allowing transfers between the separate trusts. In January 2026, the average monthly Social Security benefit for a retired worker rises to $2,071, following a 2.8% cost of living adjustment. Applying the trustees' projected 22% reduction to this baseline results in a monthly loss of about $455. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates the average actual cut will be closer to $500 per month. This figure represents a national average, not a uniform reduction for every recipient. Actual losses will vary based on individual earnings histories, with retirees in 29 states experiencing even steeper monthly dollar cuts because of higher localized benefits. For scale, consider an illustrative household of 2 retirees receiving this average benefit. Together, they bring in $4,142 each month. A 22% drop cuts their monthly budget by about $907. This calculation serves only to show the potential impact, rather than provide financial advice, illustrating the real-world math confronting future household budgets. The prior Trustees Report projected OASI depletion in the fourth quarter of 2033. The latest forecast moves that timeline 1 year earlier, to the fourth quarter of 2032. This shift stems from a mix of policy and demographic changes. The trustees' model incorporated the tax provisions of the 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which reduced the amount of income tax collected on benefits, lowering trust fund revenue by roughly $30 billion per year. Demographically, the projections reflect slower population and workforce growth, meaning fewer workers will pay into the system for every beneficiary. The trustees updated their assumptions to account for the aging baby boom generation, lower fertility rates, and reduced immigration. Because these forecasts rely on evolving assumptions, any legislative or economic change can instantly redraw the timeline. In 1983, the system faced an immediate cash shortfall, with reserves projected to empty within months. To address the emergency, President Ronald Reagan and Congress formed a bipartisan commission chaired by Alan Greenspan. The resulting Social Security amendments of 1983 introduced key changes: taxing benefits for higher-income retirees, adjusting payroll tax rates, and gradually raising the full retirement age from 65 to 67. These reforms successfully stabilized the program's finances for decades. While this historic compromise demonstrates that legislative action is possible, it does not guarantee that future lawmakers will repeat the response. Current retirees, workers nearing retirement, and survivors will all face the system's changes after 2032. For younger employees, the implications of working after this date differ significantly from the practical reality of receiving benefits. Because each household's outcome depends on personal earnings history, specific benefit amounts, family circumstances, and future legislative changes, national projections cannot determine what will happen to any single household. Relying on Social Security as a sole source of retirement support carries clear risks, regardless of what lawmakers eventually decide. This reality makes general financial awareness important, even though individual retirement strategies and claiming choices remain highly personal. The ultimate path forward remains undefined, leaving a fundamental choice for the future of the program and the people who rely on it. An empty trust fund does not mean the end of Social Security. Even if the reserves run dry, ongoing tax revenues will keep flowing into the system. But the current math cannot support full scheduled benefits past 2032 without a change. What happens next is not a predetermined doom, nor is it a guaranteed fix. The final outcome is entirely dependent on legislative choices that have yet to be made. Until Congress acts, the future remains uncertain. Subscribe for more calm, evidence-based breakdowns of what's actually happening with your money. The 2032 deadline is a mathematical reality, not a distant debate. While the program will not disappear, our willingness to act now will define retirement security for generations.